Hello and welcome back to BlueTube, where today we've got another deep dive for you guys. If you tuned into the Gary Cook one, then you know what this series is all about. It's just a little bit of an insight into those behind the curtain at our wonderful club Birmingham. And today we're going to be covering a fan favourite, Craig Gardner. Now, of course, Craig Gardner's got quite the history. He's one of the only people that I know in football who's ever become a director of the same club that they played for. And he's got quite the story to tell, so we thought we'll touch on that today. Starting off, Craig Gardner was born and raised in Solihull. He attended Cockshut Hill School in Yardley with his brother Gary, who we of course know all too well as well. He made 260 appearances in the Premier League and a further 67 in the Championship. He played for clubs such as Aston Villa, Abbey of Birmingham of course on multiple occasions, Sunderland and West Bromwich Albion. Now, taking a look at Craig's international career, he had 14 caps for England under-21s from 2007 to 2009, and he actually scored on 2 occasions. So Gardner, and this brings me no joy to say this, he actually came through the Aston Villa's youth system and turned professional on the 31st of January 2005. He scored his first professional goal for Villa in a 3-1 away win on the 14th of April against Middlesbrough. We'll skip past all the Villa stuff, we'll just get on to Birmingham now. So he signed for our club on a 4.5-year contract on the 26th of January in 2010. He made his debut on the 7th of February as a 68th minute substitute, and he actually set up the first of Kevin Phillips' goals. What a cracking player he was, as Birmingham came back to beat local rivals Wolverhampton Wanderers 2-1. Well, way to make your debut as well. And as for goal scoring goes, he scored his first goal for the club against Everton on the 13th of March that same year. Now, Gardner's someone who is most certainly in the spotlight for a lot of Blues fans because he was there at some pretty iconic moments. One of the most famous ones is that winning goal in extra time against West Ham that took Blues to that historic 2011 Football League final against Arsenal. He was in the team's top scorers in the 2010 and 11 season, and being a top scorer in that season in the Premier League is no small feat. He had 8 league goals, 10 in all competitions, but unfortunately that was obviously the year that we were relegated from the Premier League to the Championship, and even on the last game, Craig was still playing his heart out for his club. He scored in our defeat against Spurs, it ended 2-1. Now, let's move on from that. In June 2011, so just a short time later, Gardner moved to Sunderland, where he signed a reputed 3-year deal for an undisclosed fee. His debut game was in the Newcastle derby, can you only imagine, where Sunderland lost. He came on as a sub in that game. One of his most iconic goals was when he scored in a game against Wigan with a 30-yard free kick. Although things were going well for Gardner in the northeast, it was rumoured he was feeling quite homesick, and at this moment in time was actually linked with a move back to the Midlands. Gardner refused these rumours, and Blues actually attempted to loan him back from the Black Cats based off the back of this, but it was turned down at the time. So Gardner remained at Sunderland for the 2012 and 13 season. Now, on the 20th of May 2014, Gardner signed a 3-year contract with West Brom to begin when his Sunderland contract had expired. His first goal for the Baggies was against the team he had started his youth career with, Villa, which ain't too bad, is it? On the 11th of January 2017, Gardner made his return to Blues on loan until the end of the season, and then he was later signed on a permanent deal for 3 years, reputed to be in the region of £1 million. In November of 2019, Gardner was made a player coach at Blues, so this is after his playing days are done, when Pep Clotet was manager. Obviously, Pep Clotet famously known for actually bringing Jude Bellingham to the fore, and is still largely regarded in high praise by the Birmingham City fans, and with good reason. After Clotet left Blues, Gardner, together with Steve Spooner, was placed in temporary charge of the team for the remainder of the 2019-20 season, with Blues narrowly avoiding relegation, which is unfortunately not at all too foreign for us, is it? As they had done on many occasions during this period of the club's history. Gardner left the coaching role at Blues when Aitor Karanka, and what a legend he was, became manager and brought in his own coaching staff in 2020. Gardner moved up north and joined Sheffield Wednesday and worked under Tony Pulis, a manager he worked with at West Brom. Although this time with Tony Pulis was very short-lived because he was sacked after only a month. And then Gardner returned to Blues as a coach in early 2021. Later in June of the same year, he was appointed technical director at Blues, and well, the rest was history. Knighthead took over the Blues in 2023. The new chairman, Tom Wagner, said of Gardner, and now this really stood out to me, and I think that this is where Gardner actually slowly started to get some of the credit that he really does deserve. Tom Wagner said, "Without whose help, we would never have completed this transaction." And before you say anything, I'm not doing the American accent. He deserves an enormous amount of credit in helping to shepherd the transaction over the line. As a director, Craig Gardner has been very involved in player and manager recruitment at the Blues, often working on a shoestring budget, but still has managed to sign some extraordinary players for Blues. In the recent open house, at the time of the recording, we have just had the open house on growth, which I'm sure most of you will have been able to catch a few weeks ago, where it was openly discussed that he has been an influential factor in the current squad, and the appointment of the manager Chris Davis and bringing him to the club. Now, I don't know how much of you guys watch our channel, but me and my dad have spoke on multiple occasions now about how much of a find Chris Davis has been, and it would be interesting to see just how that recruitment process was run and who it was that actually looked at Chris Davis and said, "Do you know what? I think we should give this chap a chance," because as far as I can tell, he's one of the best managers we've had for quite a long time. Now, I would never say that I would speak on behalf of all Blues fans, but I think a lot of them would certainly agree with me when I say that Craig Gardner should go down as a legendary member of Blues history. Not with just what he's done on the pitch, but what he's been a part of off it as well. And I think that there's a lot more to come from him as we go into these really exciting times with Knighthead at the helm and all of the prospects that we have at our fingertips at the moment. So yeah, all in all, I suppose that I can end this with saying just a massive well done to Craig and a thank you, who's without their help, we have no idea where this club could be, but I'd venture to guess it certainly wouldn't be in this position with Knighthead, that's for sure, as made clear by Tom Wagner himself. If you guys have enjoyed this deep dive, please do feel free to let us know and just drop a comment down below, and please do subscribe. It's one of those things that we forget to say on this channel quite often, but it really does help us grow. And to those who have subscribed so far, all we can say on behalf of myself and of course my dad, who's not with me today, we thank you. It really does mean the world. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Take care.